Sorry, what the fuck is Allsvenskan?
And welcome to What the Fuck is Allsvenskan. I'm not sure. I'm just so excited that I've got energy back now after last week's roller coaster ride. I'm back, baby. You guys miss me?
No.
The king is back. Long live the king.
Thank you. There you go. I'm back. I have overlived. Wow, that was proper Swinglish, wasn't it? I've survived that weird man flu / COVID / whatever it was. And now I'm back. Joining me today are the ever beautiful and charming Neil Cook.
Buongiorno. See, I thought Mike was going Swedish, so I'm going to go for a different language every week from now on.
You can speak.
I did it in the style of Brad Pitt from Inglourious Bastards as well.
Nice. I think that's what you do every language in the style of Brad Pitt from Inglourious Bastards, right? Even when you speak Swedish.
That is one of the best line readings of any movie. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Yeah.
And the ever incredulously awesome Michael Woodfine is joining us today as well.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, that was very classy.
Yeah. A new Swedish greeting.
I wonder how many intros we can do to a show with Mike saying something in Swedish. I mean, we're
probably at our last one now. I was racking my brain actually.
I reckon I can come up with like at least 6 more.
Oh, come on, Mike, get on it.
Okay.
Think about where you're from.
I'll group chat them to you.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody to today's show of What the Fuck is Allsvenskan. Week 2 is in the books, and as ever, Allsvenskan never fails to deliver some absolutely sensational moments of, well, football, but also madness. And I'm actually just going to jump straight into my highlight of the week because I don't think there's any other way to start the show than to talk about the poor Hammarby goalkeeper. I mean, I please have a look at our Instagram and have a look at the reel that I posted of his. I don't know what he was doing, but it was. I mean, I've never seen that happen in a football match before in all my life. I watched far too much football, and I've never seen that happen.
Do you want to explain what did happen?
That's probably a good start. Good start. Basically, one of the most tame and well-placed back pass rolled across the box on a beautiful sunny day somewhere in Sweden where BK Häcken played. I'm not really sure where they're from. But thank you. It rolled across the box. And Doven, like every goalkeeper is taught to, playing with his eyes up, he puts his foot out to stop the ball, makes a bit of contact with the ball, not enough contact with the ball because the ball keeps rolling behind him. He's then scanning, feeling as cool as a cucumber, scanning the pitch, looking for where he's going to put his pass. He goes, I'm just going to take another touch of the ball. At the peripheral vision, he sees this little white round circle, and he tries to take a touch of that. But that was the fucking penalty spot. And then before he could
stop
even
him
turn
having
around,
a second touch of the penalty spot. When he first wrote this, he does go back for another pass of the penalty spot.
I've never seen it before. Yeah. And then Benny Traore has just been gifted the easiest goal he will ever score in his career. I honestly, the look on his face, he was surprised, I think, and he just rolled the ball into the back of the net, and everybody just went. It was like a collective breath, and you realize that this incident will follow Doven for the rest of his career. No matter where he goes, no matter what heights he achieves in his football career, this will
and he's got a lot of potential.
He is. I thought he was one of the better goalies week 1.
Oh, yeah. Actually, back on when the replay hit for that mistake, the commentators on Discovery Plus went, "Oh, very good," in the most sighing way possible. Like, such a yeah.
But
I felt sorry.
I have a theory. I have a theory as to why this happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did some research into it. And it turns out that his dad was once in the Arsenal academy.
Oh, boo!
So
wow!
It must be that. Must be that.
Wait, was he really?
Yeah, his dad was in the Arsenal academy.
At the same time as Almunia, Fabianski,
I think he's a bit
and
older.
Vito Minone.
Mike, what was your highlight of the week?
Yeah, my highlight of the week. So the nation's favourite sausage monger is at it again.
Janne.
I was like, what are you on about, sausage monger? And then I realised who you were talking about.
I don't even know if that's a real word, but sausage monger. Or sausage magnet, maybe. Okay, so just to give a little backstory for our English and international listeners. And by international listeners, I mean that one guy in Mexico.
Shout out
listening.
to the guy in Mexico.
Yeah, shout out to
listening to the podcast. Legend.
But yeah, so just a little refresher. The manager of the Swedish national team, Jan Andersson, just can't keep himself out the news. Since we've been following Allsvenskan and Swedish football in the last month, he's got into a huge row on national TV with a very high-profile pundit after beating Azerbaijan 5-0. He massively lost his temper. There was a public apology, all sorts of backlash, and then he became the face of sausage.
Of course.
And now, he was on the Swedish version of Masked Singer, and this was taken right out of one of Andy's fever dreams last weekend, because he was there dressed as a giant, like, friendly mole, singing along to E-Type and slapping his ass.
No!
Slapping whose ass?
His own.
Oh.
In the mole suit. Let's just add that. And then he got voted out straight. He got voted off the show immediately.
Did they find out who he was straight away? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, he's gone. He is gone. And it was Mr. Janne. Like, the weird thing is about this guy is you might think, oh, this guy sounds like a bit of a maverick, a bit of a crazy guy. No, he's literally one of the most boring men you will ever meet in your life. Yeah, he's up to all kinds of crazy stuff.
He is the epitome of 442. I mean, that for me is just him in a nutshell. He's so boring, but now he's sponsored by a sausage company and he's showing up on Masked Singer. Like, I don't get this guy's. I don't.
Was he any good? Was he any good?
I mean, what do you think, Neil?
Well, I'm hoping yes. Part of me is hoping yes.
Well, I mean, okay, if that's not a highlight about Allsvenskan, I don't know what is. Janne was dressed as a mole on national TV.
I just want to add to this, like, if we were to, like, if Gareth Southgate was to do this kind of shit in the last month, people would be worried about him. But
this brings me perfectly on to a random quiz that I've got for you two guys. Out of the blue here. Okay.
So Neil's got the quiz this time.
Yeah,
well, it came to me at last minute, so it won't take too long. But so this isn't particularly Swedish related, but it sort of is because Janne Andersson did me a favour. So there is an English version of this show, The Masked Singer. So I don't know how we're going to do this, but the first person that can tell me the former England manager that was on the English version of The Masked Singer.
Wait, there was an England manager?
Okay. There was an England manager on the English Masked Singer.
Is it Sven?
No, it's not Sven.
Okay.
Is it Steve McLaren?
It is not Steve McLaren.
Steve McLaren.
The Wally with the brolly, I thought.
Yeah, with his Dutch accent that he put on that time.
Oh, wow. Who else have we
Any
had?
more guesses?
Oh,
Sam
Hoddle.
Allardyce.
And Mike Woodvine has taken the win.
No.
With Glenn Hoddle.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
God.
Glenn,
So,
That makes
I
so
don't
much
know.
sense
on-
now.
Okay, I'll get Glenn Hoddle had a little bit of a music career back in the day. Okay, and he was. Yeah, this is very English now, but he was on a TV show called Top of the Pops. He even made it to that level, which was a British
way.
show about the current charts. And he was on there with another England international because he was a bit younger
Is it
at
John
this
Barnes?
stage. It's not John Barnes. So who is the other England international? A Tottenham player. I'll give you that.
Oh, jeez, I don't know any of those.
An
It's not
England
David
international
Ginola.
Tottenham player.
Oh, Darren Anderton.
No, it's older than that.
Is it going to be like Eric Dyer when he was 10 or something?
So no, we've got Hoddle and Waddle.
Oh,
Of course.
Chris Waddle. So Hoddle and Waddle. And,
So you're
they-
basically saying there's hope for Janne yet because it didn't ruin Glenn Hoddle's career, apparently.
No, they were on there with a song called Diamond Lights. Got to number 12 in the charts.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. I
And
know
there you
what
go.
I'm listening
Anyone want
to
to take a
tonight.
guess at what Glenn Hoddle was dressed as? This is quite bizarre on The Masked Singer.
Was he dressed as Janne Anderson?
Go on, Neil, put us out of our
No, he
misery.
was dressed as a grandfather clock on. Yeah. Anyway,
honestly,
that was my mini quiz, people. Well
think
done, Mike. You're
TV's
the only
been
one that got
around.
any points for that.
I think TV's been around for long enough now that we're starting to run out of ideas and people who are willing to put themselves through this, which is why I think Jan Anderson suddenly got a guest appearance on a singing show.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, I mean, as much as I would like to spend another full episode talking about Jan Anderson, I think it is time to move on and discuss the game of the week, which picked by yours truly. And actually probably lived up to the expectations of Game of the Week. A lot went on. I am, however, after last week's unbelievable delivery of the 10 words or less summary from you two, I'm really looking forward to the part of the show now where I ask you, can you sum up the Hammarby BK Häcken game in 10 words or less? And let's go with Neil.
Okay, so I've gone a little bit on. Mike last week he gave us a headline almost, so I've gone a little bit down that track, and I've gone with "Don't use a hammer to trim a bush." is what I've gone with.
Oh, that is good. That is really good.
Yeah, that's what I went with. Yeah.
That's so good.
That's my 10 words or less, guys.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this is my favorite part of the entire podcast. That is amazing.
See, I think
all of that.
Neil's won this already.
Yeah.
Mine is shocking compared to this.
I'm sorry, Mike. You should have gone first.
I've literally just got Heckin Hellstrom written down.
Oh, like Håkan Hellström. Is that,
Yeah, that's it. That's literally all I got written down there. I didn't.
Is it because it was a
Didn't prepare.
masterclass in performance, or
It was going to be something along those lines, and I think I thought I finished writing it, and then I didn't.
Okay.
So
Neil, you take this week's. That is
Thanks, guys.
sensational. A bit of headline writing.
Yeah.
I
Might have a
seriously
new
think
career
you
ahead of
two.
me.
I was just going to say, you two. The phone's going to be ringing off the hook in the studio if we had a studio. Brilliant. So on that note, obviously we've talked a little bit about our poor friend Dovin, who put Häcken into the lead quite graciously, as if the match wasn't going to be hard enough with high-flying top of the league Häcken at home on their home debut.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
See, that
how
mistake
did you
was
see this
bad,
match
but
going?
it was also at the worst possible time. It was 5 minutes in. Like, so the mistake itself is awful, but the timing of it makes it even worse because Häcken go into the lead early on, and this is the whole game is now suited to them. And
yeah, especially with the amount of pace that they have on the counter. I mean, you don't really want to be pushing from a goal down 5 minutes in away. Yeah, it wasn't a great start.
no,
It wasn't a great start. But I mean, actually, I think because we watched this game together because it was Neil's birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Neil!
Got old.
So yeah, exactly. So we watched this game together, and I remember just everyone just looking at each other like, "Wait, what just happened?" And it took everyone by surprise. And I didn't actually remember it being that early in the game. I thought it was much later on, and then afterwards, when I looked at the sort of the ticker, I was like, "Wait, that was in the 5th minute." It felt like the match was very finely poised at that point, but it was so early.
I think I've based the whole season on that Hammarby AIK match. So Hammarby looked pretty good. AIK couldn't cope, and I sort of thought, Hammarby Häcken, that's going to be a nice close game, and maybe it would have been, but actually, it felt like Häcken were a class above Hammarby.
yeah.
But I don't know how much
half time.
Yeah, was that down to them conceding in 5 minutes and losing hope that quickly? I don't know.
Yeah,
No,
I think it just
I know what
played
you mean.
right into Häcken's hands there because they had a really like simple game plan, and it was so effective. They would sit back, then press in certain zones, tackle crossfield ball immediately to either Benny Traore or Ibrahim Sadiq,
Lars' son.
or Lars Larsson as well. Yeah, and then they would move the ball so quickly between Hammarby, and they just couldn't cope with it. There was a few times like Samuel Gustafsson, I think that's his name, right? Central midfielder for Häcken really impressed me. His awareness to switch the play every time, and he put so many great passes.
Often a player in that position will just play like a shorter pass, and then either the midfielder would take on that more sort of you'd call it a ping, effectively ping the ball over to the wide players. But he was doing a great job just skipping that middleman effectively, and really catching out the left or the right back of Hammarby with those passes.
Yeah, for me, he was this week's Magnus Eriksson. Like, he was dictating the play like fantastically well, and I kind of missed him in the first game, the first Häcken game. I realized he was very good in that game as well, but I was so sort of busy watching all the eye candy of the front three. But my God, he is a sensational footballer. And he makes them tick for sure.
The second goal, it's exactly what we're talking about here. It was a crossfield ball. Simon Strand massively misjudges the crossfield pass, and he falls over backwards,
my guy,
like
Simon
sort
Beach.
of an old Swedish pine in Where Gordon. And then and then the ball's played across, impeccable touch by Benny Traore again, who was great and finished the bottom corner. But Simon Strand didn't cover himself in glory there.
No, and I love Simon Beach. I think he's a great little player. But I mean, Benny Traore, who's the Hammarby centre back?
Catullus or Fenger?
No, the other dude, the fella that doesn't look like he should be playing football.
The geography teacher,
Fenger, the geography teacher. Yeah, the guy that looks like he should be teaching like middle school geography. Yeah. His face when Traore did this, obviously like little shoulder fake, let the ball roll across his body, and Fender. He's got his head in his hands before he's even turned around and seen that he's put in the back of the net. He's been
his soul leaves his
down
body
for a hot dog. He's going to Janne's Korv stand and getting a hot dog and he's already like checked out mentally at that point. It was so easy. I mean, it was so easy.
But it was a great touch.
It was a great touch, but it was far too easy. I mean,
is there anything more degrading as a centre back than like conceding that sort of a goal and then having to go and chew on Janne's sausage?
And the thing is, like, if you watch both,
Is that what
goals,
happens in the Swedish national team? Or?
Yeah. Oh God. Different path now, boys. We've gone down a different
again.
path.
We're on a whole different podcast again. But yeah, I mean, I think that goal was actually almost more embarrassing. How easy. Actually, no, that's a lie. You can't go over mistaking the penalty spot for the ball. As much as I'm trying to like dig Dovin out of this hole, it's not going to happen. But how do you guys think? How big of an injury is Ibrahim Sadiq's injury for Häcken?
Is there a hamstring, right?
They haven't. I haven't read anything. They could have been. I tried looking again today, and they haven't come out with a timeline or anything.
He was sprinting. He was sprinting, wasn't he? And he pulled up, and it was his hamstring. So in normal cases, it would be like 4 to 6 weeks, probably.
Yeah. They've actually they signed this winter. They signed Ola Kamara. I don't know if you know this. He's a Norwegian national team player. He played in MLS, I think, for the last few years. But I think he's been injured or he's not been playing so far. But he's quite high. He was their replacement for Yeremyev, that guy.
Yeremyev.
So they do have that's his name. Has anyone double checked it?
Oh, nice. No, but it'll be interesting to see how they cope. I mean, if they move Traore out wide or if they play the other guy, the guy that came on the winger, Udinese. I'm just taking a random stab in the dark at his name.
Udinese.
But it'll be interesting to see. Let's see how deep Häcken actually are, and if that makes any of a difference to them running away with the league. Because I mean, they
look really good.
They look really good. Like they look like genuine champions in waiting, basically.
Yeah, so well drilled. They all knew what they were supposed to be doing, and it was so clear to watch them tactically on how they were playing, which is quite difficult to watch in Allsvenskan because I think, for example, Hammarby looks a little bit confused in the first half of are they playing with 2 false nines? There was a bit of confusion sometimes, it looked like, between Teki and Bezra of whether who was coming inside, and they ended up with a very square midfield after a while.
Yeah. But I did wonder in the second half if they had eased up. So, Mike, maybe I don't know, but did Häcken concede a lot of possession in the second half? Yeah,
overall it was 59% possession to Hammarby, and it was 63% possession to them in the second half.
Okay.
And I don't know if Game State has to do anything about that, but Hammarby made 200 more passes than Häcken. They had a lot more territory, and on the FootMob's momentum index, it had them in the second half showing all the momentum from about the 54th minute. It was all Hammarby on that index. But I don't know if Game State has much to do with that, but Hammarby did look quite slick with the ball.
I think the first half, it felt like they'd overthunk it. You know, they suddenly... Bezra playing as a false 9 instead of dictating the play from the midfield, and then it felt like towards the second half he got back to doing what does best, and they started ticking a lot better. But yeah, it was. It did feel like I felt similar to watching AIK game, and they just massively overthought that process. It felt like. But yeah, it'll be interesting. You can't really go in to the Häcken game and not overthink it, I guess, because they seem to be scaring the shit out of the rest of the league already. But maybe just keep it simple, because you're right, the second half was much better.
Talking about scaring the shit out of people, Häcken's right back, spooky guy, really spooky guy.
Yeah, he looks like someone who's just been hired for like a Halloween special. He's an interesting looking fella.
He's way over 190. It looks like, and as a right back, and he really impressed me with his his physicality, and his I think he provided a few of the crossfield passes, potentially for the third goal. I think it could have been.
But he also went off injured, didn't he?
No, different guy. The centre back went off injured. Hammer.
Maybe I forgot. Oh yeah, no, it was that. Yeah,
Hammer.
But yeah, he really He really impressed me. I think he was decent. I thought he looked like he would be maybe mid-30s, late 20s.
Yeah, he's 21. He's from Iceland,
21.
though, so, you know, I get...
België. But his hairline's already on the back of his head.
He looks like he's had 4 kids and suffered greatly, but he's a very good footballer, and he's very imposing physically.
You think Eddie Howe should sign him up?
Oh, honestly, he's the Icelandic Dan Burn, 100%.
Imagine Dan Burn on one side, and Velger Lundahl, was it? Yeah, something. On the other side,
exactly. No, it's a well-drilled team. It's a well-drilled team. Let's move on. We need to get through the rest of the week's fixtures, and there are some interesting ones and some absolute bore draws. So let's kick it off with Degerfors Halmstad. Neil, you had an extra eye on this game.
Yeah, I had a bit of a look at it. It was a pretty entertaining match, actually. So Halmstad, they took a nice early lead. It was a good left-footed strike from outside of the box, actually. It was a nice little finish into the bottom left corner. Yep, so that was pretty good. Erik Alstrand with the goal there. And then Degerfors, they ended up winning the game 3-1. All 3 of Degerfors' goals were half volleys. It's a stat, isn't it?
That's a stat.
Yeah. That's a stat.
That's
so, so first of all, there was a left-footed half volley from outside the box by an unpronounceable name. I don't even know. Again, it's one of those ones I'm not really sure where to start on. I feel like this is a running theme. Abdel Karim, at least I've got, and then Mama. Feels weird, and then Abdel Karim Mama Choche. Yep, that's who we've got. He's half volleyed it from outside the box there. Nice left footer. And then our friend from last week, Luis Suarez, turns up.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I saw Suarez scored.
Yeah, or Diego Campos, as it's actually called. It was a nice tidy finish. The ball sort of bounces across the area and he comes in from the left-hand side and half volleys it past the keeper. Very tidy finish. Question is, should he be playing? Would be my concern as a Halmstad fan, because that actually takes them into the lead. And then then the third goal was like a half volley from sort of set it up himself. It bounced to him. He kicked it up once. It bounced again, and Rasmus Erkvist volleyed it in. But Degerfors were deserved winners. They had 22 shots to Halmstad's 9 over the course of the match.
22 shots.
Yeah, not many on target, but 22 shots.
They could actually be quite
They're
good.
trying to half volley everything, and I guess there's room for error.
Yeah. And that's one loss and 1 win for both teams as of now, anyway. So sitting in mid-table.
Degerfors, I think I said it last week. I was actually quite impressed with them last week against Hammarby, and they seem to they'd done well against a Halmstad team that played well the week before as well. For a team that I'd literally never heard of, they're doing pretty good. I mean, it does help if you've got Luis Suarez playing for your team.
They've got a bit of quality in their team.
Surprisingly good.
Sure.
And the young Belgian centre mid as well that's playing, Palovic, I think his name is. He looks a player as well. So it'd be interesting to see.
Exactly. Who had the Bromma Malmö match?
Oh, that was me, Brom and Malmö. So, okay, that game, it felt like it lasted about 4 years. First of all the shit we were talking about Bromma from week 1 about how they were utterly useless and they were going straight down. They were really good. Now, without having watched a lot of Allsvenskan, it's kind of hard to draw these conclusions, but because it's kind of like, okay, were Bromma just really good in this game, or were Malmö just particularly bad? Bromma basically had a simple game plan. It was 5 at the back when defending, very tight and compact, and then they were absolutely lethal on the counter. They could have scored 4 or 5 in the first half.
Yeah, I watched this as well, and I was actually really impressed with them. Compared to what we thought about them last week.
Yeah,
they actually in the first half.
Yeah, exactly. You, Gordon, made them look a bit silly in week one. And then I was watching that game expecting, a Malmo runaway victory, and Malmo scraped through in the end. They won 2-1 in the end. Old Kiese Thelin, aka Smooches McGee, he scored twice, bringing his tally to 3 goals in 2 games. His second goal he took really well. But yeah, they scraped over the line in that game.
Yeah, I gotta say, my highlight of that game was the fact that there's a bouncy castle behind the Bromma goal. It's not only that; it's that their keeper made 2 or maybe even 3 big errors and looked like a clown. And Brilliant. It didn't help that there was a massive bouncy castle behind him, reminding him.
Yeah, I noticed that bouncy castle, and I just thought, Jesus Christ.
I was half expecting the subs to start warming up on it.
Yeah, I wonder, like that. Yeah, I thought the same thing. Like, is it like a part of their routine? Like, who can do it?
Bounce, lads, and then we're out in 5.
What do you think they do? All I did on a bouncy castle when I was younger was like wrestle my brothers. So maybe that's it. Like they're all pretending to be like Hulk Hogan on the bouncy castle before turning up for the match.
Andy would do like all sorts of like suplexes on me. And just
it was the beauty of having a much smaller, younger brother. It was great. Yeah. But I mean, I can just imagine the warm-ups. Physio getting everyone running down. Are we running sprints today, coach? No. Everyone get on the castle, have a jump around.
You would get pretty sweaty from bouncy castles, though, to be fair.
Activate the calves. You'd be great. No, but it was weird because the stadium, the Bromma Stadium. I've realised that I've actually played in that stadium before in Division 6 or 7 or something, and it's it doesn't look like a real stadium. And then the fact that they had a bouncy castle behind the goal, it's like, and no names on the back of the shirt. It's like, guys, come on, like take yourself seriously.
Yeah, it's literally like a bouncy castle surrounded by policemen as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's
really
maybe it was for them.
Secure the castle.
Secure.
Secure the castle. Oh shit! But the Bromma goalkeeper again had an absolute nightmare. It's really easy to sit here with a glass of wine in my hand, slating professional footballers when I'm never made it as a footballer myself. But he was so bad. The expected goals that he faced was 1.2, and he conceded 2. He had 14 accurate passes the whole game. That's 48%. And his long ball accuracy was 2 of 17. 12% long ball accuracy. And that's just the distribution. That's not bearing in mind the fact that he could not get his feet in a line when the ball rolled across the box and luckily bounced into, I think, one of his legs or the post or something. This guy needs to go to some kind of like dance class or something to be able to understand how to move his body in a manner that is going to prevent goals and not just look like a clown. Because he struggled,
and he's been looks like he's been on the kebab pizzas as well. He couldn't get up 100%. For that second error. It was difficult watching.
If you watch a film, you watch a film, and there's always like a bad guy, and they've got a stupid mate that's like his henchman. They've got like a stupid henchman.
Yes,
yeah,
that's him. He looks like a stupid henchman. He's like
the tall guy from Home Alone.
Yeah, exactly. It just looks like that's exactly it. He's got roles in films for years to come if the goalkeeping never like sort of pans out for him.
Which it doesn't look like it will, bless him. But I mean, wow.
Well, I actually think he was playing in the Bundesliga a couple of years ago.
No.
I think. Or at least for Bundesliga side.
There's a reason he's not anymore.
God, you're right. He was playing for Amina Beifeld.
Yeah.
He was on loan. Oh, but he was on loan from August 2022 to August 2022.
He just turned up and they were like, oh, shit, we got the wrong
They were like, oh, fuck this.
Cancelled it straight away.
Oh no, but he's having an absolute mare. He has 115 appearances for AIK though between 2015 and 2020. So he's obviously he's no spring chicken, and he doesn't look like he should be making these kind of mistakes. But anyway, Malmo got back into the game. I think they scored in 80th minute and the 92nd minute. But they should have been 3-0 down at half time. There was some absolute rockets that Bromma Poikina were launching. They some of the counter attacks, and I think they hit the bar, the crossbar. They looked really good. But did you see, Mike, in the 37th minute, Mr. Cricket himself got subbed off injured?
Oh yeah, and I think
Sandberg Magnusson.
Sandberg Magnusson.
I think they would have won if he'd stayed on.
Maybe he's got to go bowl 10 overs for Surrey in a few minutes.
That's it.
Oh, I love it. But I think one of the other things from that game is I swear I missed half of the game watching it, because apparently Bromma Poikina can only afford one camera to film the game. And every time they were filming to the left, which was the end Malmo were attacking, which was the entire first half, basically, the Malmo fans were obviously camped out bottom left-hand corner, and they were just flaring it up the whole game. So you couldn't see half the action. Every time Bromma Poikina countered, it was exciting because you can actually see the football. But I mean, maybe invest in a few more cameras, guys.
Yeah. So in amateur or kids football over here, there's a lot of we're in Stockholm, so a lot of these kids football teams have quite a lot of cash. They'll invest in one of these. I think they're called like Vimo cameras.
Yes.
And they're like these green triangle spaceship type things. And you put them on one side and they follow the ball. Yeah. And it was that sort of feeling watching that Bromma game. It felt like they got one of those cameras and it was just following the ball with no real...
Well, if anyone would like to donate to Bromma Poikina so they can get another camera to film their Allsvenskan games, I'm sure we can find a link for donations for them. We'll set up a GoFundMe. On to the next game. Are you serious? IK serious against Animal Park. Neil.
Animal Park. I still love the name Animal Park. I naturally want to call them Zoo, but Animal Park's just brilliant. It makes them. It's a bit South Parky. It's a bit shit. It's a bit.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Thanks for giving me the honour of seeing this game, guys. A nice 0-0. There's a couple of things that went on though. There was an early dive for the Sirius centre forward, but it was sort of, like when I first watched it, I thought it was quite convincing, and I think the ref did quite well not to give it, because when you look back on the replay, he's sort of tripped up his own feet and fallen over. And I think one of the biggest things with it was he didn't even try and claim it himself. But he definitely went for the dive and then went, oh no, that was too shit. I can't ask the ref to give me a penalty for this.
He looked really good. That was that Joachim Persson.
Yeah. I saw him in week one, and he looks.
He
really
went
good.
off half time though.
Looks like a good player. Maybe there was an injury. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I missed that.
Right. Or maybe his manager went, that was such a shit dive. You've got to get the fuck off the pitch. Like,
go and give me 10 bounces right now.
One thing, wrong pitch, but it's a long way to go. Go to Bromma and give me 10 bounces. That's a harsh punishment.
Submission.
But but what I never understand is why they're not booked. So like he's clean through. He's taken a dive. The ref's gone, absolutely not a penalty. So he must be thinking he's dived, but he doesn't get a yellow card out anyway. But there was a booking, and it was the goalkeeper for Djurgården. He
was sending off.
Peter Cech, right?
Yeah,
Peter Cech. He comes running out, and the thing is that in Sweden, all of these pitches, they're sort of artificial turf, so the ball bounces true. So there's really no excuses as to what happened next, and that was the case that like he's come running out, and the ball's just bounced past him, and he's sort of taken the player out who was running through, and it's I don't know. He's been sent off, but I think they were covering players. Did any of you guys see this?
Yeah,
I thought
it
the
looked
same
like there
thing.
were two covering centre backs
Yeah.
in position there.
I think you could have easily given him a yellow and went on with the game there.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't as clean cut as it would seem if it was a straight red.
Yeah. So seriously, they had a bit of pressure after that. Djurgården, they brought on Andre Picanel, an 18-year-old goalkeeper. He was the best goalkeeper I've seen so far in the Allsvenskan. He was really good. Like, solid debut. Everyone must be. Imagine being a parent to your 18-year-old coming on and having he had a good game. Solid.
Pretty impressive.
He was the guy
There's a
he
job.
looks
There's
like
a job
he worked
going
at
in
Eco,
Bromma
wasn't
if he wants.
Yeah, exactly. But the closest thing to a goal that I saw really was Eriksson almost scored an own goal from a counter attack that Sirius should have scored from. Messed up the final ball, and it sort of bounced off of Eriksson, and he just the keeper had to make a save from his own player's shot. But other than that, not much else going on. Really,
Pretty
Sirius
uneventful,
had a
0-0.
chance. Yeah, Sirius must be kicking themselves though. They had a chance to beat Djurgården and they fluffed it up. Really. Yeah.
Well, what happened in Kalmar Gothenburg then, Mike? Your favourite team in the league, Gothenburg. How did they get along?
They didn't show up. It was quite a dull match, and Kalmar absolutely dominated it. I think Göteborg got an XG of like 0.6 or 0.8, something like that.
Ouch.
And yeah, the first goal by Kalmar was scored by Skorab, which is a quite a cool name. They just basically went straight through the middle of Gothenburg, and they showed no resistance. It was like a hot knife through smør. And but yeah, they probably could have. They should have scored quite a few. I think Kalmar, they actually looked quite good, or Gothenburg were just awful. One of the two. Last week Neil was very impressed with Kalmar's keeper, and he looked very comfortable with the ball at his feet. But I got to say, the one that stood out for me this week from Kalmar is their centre midfielder Carl Gustafsson. He's 23 years old, and he was very similar to the Häcken midfielder. Also Gustafsson, I think.
Got quite a lot of players
Samuel.
that are very Swedish in their name that we're impressed with. So we've got Lars Larsson,
Gustav Gustafsson.
We've got Eriksson at Djurgården. It's like it's going to be difficult to remember. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm getting them confused already. But I remember his stats. He had 87% pass accuracy, 6 clearances, 4 interceptions, 78% of his duels won, and 100% of his dribbles as well. So he was superb in the middle. But Gothenburg were just abject.
So, Mike, are Gothenburg going down?
100% they're going down. They are. They're circling the drain right now. This early on in the season. No. I don't know. They have to really change it up because they're not going to win. They really don't look like they're going to win any matches playing like the way they have. And I think they've got a run of tough fixtures coming up as well. So no hope for Gothenburg. Just like
they got Malmö, Djurgården, Norrköping.
That's a tough run.
Speaking of Norrköping, you watched the IK Norrköping game, didn't you, Andy?
Oh, I did. And this was actually probably the most interesting game of the week in terms of talking points because AIK are absolutely awful. Now, I think like you, Neil, I've seen one live game this year, and I base a lot of my in-depth analysis on that one game. Hammarby looked good, and I was like, oh, Hammarby must be good. Or is it the AIK are not good because they sleepwalked through the entire first half? There were misplaced passes, bad touches. The fans at one point, it was hilarious. They started singing, "We want to see AIK." And it's, brilliant chant because they didn't turn up.
In Swedish, what were they singing? Sorry.
Good question. I guess that's "Vi vill se AIK." Like just we want to see them play. Yeah, because they were that bad. And then
Norrköping
basically they were booed off
good.
at half time.
Mm.
At home in front of 30,000 people.
Some of the
it
chants
wasn't-
in Sweden are insanely terrible. So I can't say it even to us, but someone told me about a Hammarby chant at the weekend.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That's not PG-13.
No, it's not, is it? It was unbelievably.
I don't think they say it anymore.
Weird.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think I actually quite appreciate that one. I thought that was the irony was brilliant in it. They did not turn up. Old Jimmy Dumas again had an absolute mare. Was subbed off at half time again. I genuinely don't know where he goes from here. I mean, obviously he's going to keep starting because of his name value, but AIK, the middle of the park, you might as well just not put anybody there. Bilal Hussein was also terrible. Like, they were overrun. It was another one where they seemed to overthink the game, and they started playing with two Victor Fischer and that Fesani? No. Fesahi, thank you. And just those two up top, and then absolutely nobody for 2 miles around them, and then a back five. And then at one point they had like a centre back playing centre mid and then dropping into a back three and then a back five sometimes. It was just, they were all over the shop. It's AIK's
I would like
worst
to add
start
about that
since
midfield.
79, sorry.
Wow.
What were we going to say, Mike?
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say about the AIK midfield. They were playing against Norrköping, who had Jesper Cisse starting for the first time.
Yes.
For them, who they have just signed from AIK. And
who looks
he bossed
exactly
middle
like
of
the
park.
player that AIK are missing.
Exactly. Yeah. And he was so calm on the ball, and he just
He
bossed
was
the park.
really good.
Yeah. Don't know why they got rid of him. Yeah.
It is an odd one because I think, because you and I were watching this game together and we were like, hold on a minute. Cisse looks like the player that AIK are missing. And, 6 days ago they sold him. I mean, of course, it's one of those things where you play against your old team. You either have your best game of your life or your worst game. So it'll be interesting to see if he can continue this form or if he just stepped up as a big fuck you to AIK. But he looked really good. But Norrköping, one of the things that stood out, actually, first of all, they were really good. Really, really good. So it was a culmination of AIK being bad and them being good. But Sigurdsson, he's one of the elite players in Allsvenskan. He was running rings around AIK. His goal, he just basically walked into the box. Yeah, the defending was shocking, but he just walked in and blasted it in. He looks like a footballer. He looks like the guy that you see get off the bus and you go, oh shit. He had a headband, blonde ponytail, white boots,
White wristbands.
Wristbands. Oh yeah, definitely. You could tell. But he was absolutely unreal and far too good for Allsvenskan. It looks like he's kind of having a bit of a walk in the park. He's on loan from
He's playing
CSKA
a different
Moscow.
game.
Right, he's playing a different game.
Yeah. I picked him out in the first week. He was my pick of the Norrköping team. Just a level above, and he was even better against AIK. He's just running the show. Absolutely, no one could get near him. That one of the AIK centre backs had quite a few run-ins with him, and
Milosevic.
He kept taking him out, and he also took a chunk out of his back when he was laying on the floor as well.
They
couldn't cope with him.
No, he was too good. I mean, Norrköping have some interesting players on loan. They've got him on loan from CSKA Moscow. They've got Good Johnson on loan from the Madrid Mestalla academy, and then they got that Robeck guy on loan from AC Milan, who I don't know if you saw this, but he made history by, I think he was the first ever player to get booked before making an appearance in the Allsvenskan. He was on the sideline warming up and he got a yellow card for, I think, proper shithousery. What he did is AIK getting ready to take the goal kick and he just kicks the ball onto the pitch so they can't start a quick counter. Absolute shithousery. Next level. Like Jamie Vardy would be proud of that. But he got a yellow card before he'd even come on. But again, a massive talent. Norrköping, I mean, they could be fun to watch this year, actually. I'm definitely going to have an eye on them. Oh, and Neil, Mike and I have decided that you can't have them as your Tottenham comparison because they're far too entertaining.
That's too good. Yeah.
Too good. Too good. You need to suffer more.
Unfortunately, we've had more votes for Hammarby, haven't we? More
but no, you're not getting them either. They're too. I think AOK might have to be your team this year, Neil.
I think we've had a few listeners already show their concern that you've got a little love affair with Hammarby already. So I don't. Is that why you're trying to protect them from my support?
A little bit. I definitely have a little bit of a soft spot for them. So, but yeah, I'm trying to stay impartial here. Come on, Neil.
Yeah, we'll see.
But anyway, I mean, AOK, Norrköping, we could talk about that game for another couple of hours because there was a lot of things happening. Yeah. But another thing that I found hilarious, just because it's one of my biggest pet peeves in Allsvenskan, is, like last week I said, I hate teams that don't have the players' names on the back. Well, Norrköping are a team who have players' names on the back, but they brought on this poor fella, Sandberg, and they obviously do not rate this guy because they didn't even bother writing his fucking name on the back of his shirt. They just gave him 34.
Oh, you can't mix it up.
It was so bizarre. He was lining up with the others on the side. It's like, what? Okay, that's row back. That's the other one, right. And what? He doesn't get a name.
He doesn't get a name. I mean,
that takes me. Yeah, it takes me back to when you would play sort of lower level football. And like half the team would have like their new kit on. Some of the team would have like their older kit on. Some of the team would just have a white T-shirt with some masking tape with their number on the back. Like,
right.
And that's the sort of level,
honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they must have texted him just before the match and said, "Hey, we need one more down, in the group chat. Like, one more down here today. Yeah. We haven't got enough players to fill. If you can, we've got a shirt for you." Doesn't have a name, but it's
they've called in a ringer at last minute.
That is absolutely sensational. And I think if we're going to start a GoFundMe for Bromma Poikinen to buy a new camera, we need to start GoFundMe so that old Sandberg can get his name on the back of his Norrköping.
I might go down to Norrköping and go to their club shop, get his name on the back of a shirt.
That's
find
brilliant.
him,
give it to him.
Give it to him.
Spot on.
Here you go, mate. We can.
I mean, that's big of you. That's big of you. I think
I'm going to hold you to that.
That's a great gesture.
Yeah.
Take the bus down there tomorrow. Mike, you have an absolute corker to two corkers to round up this week's review show. You've got 2 minutes to talk about Werner Mjällby and Varberg's boys Elfsborg. I don't know if you could fit all the highlights into that short period of time, but do your best.
I think we're going to actually have to pause here. If you've seen in the doc, I have nothing there because I didn't watch that game. I didn't know that was me until now. I thought that had a different name to it.
I think we can just forget that game ever happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I watched Varberg's boys Elfsborg. And this was probably one of the worst games I've seen this season. Actually, the worst. And it was a 0-0 where Varberg's keeper got man of the match. And he only made 4 saves. So I literally tried to watch this match twice. I really tried to give you or the listeners some sort of information or some sort of entertainment with this match, but there was absolutely nothing. The first time I watched it, I fell asleep after about 20 minutes, and then I was like, okay, well, maybe I was tired. I'm going to watch it again the next day. And then again, about 20 minutes in, I just stopped watching and started organizing my living room because that was much more entertaining than what was going on.
Is that the room you're in at the moment? Because there's some full-on bizarre stuff behind you, mate. There's like people's heads. There's a little lady sitting on a seat. I don't know.
Oh yeah, all sorts.
There's all sorts there. It is like you're sitting in a museum waiting room.
Yeah. They're going to kick me out soon. I think it's closing time at the museum. No. But yeah, I just I'm sorry, I can't give you a match report to that. It was awful.
Well, I think that saves us some time. So I'm happy if you just you give it your seal of approval. Elfsborg 0, Varberg's boys 0. And then
if we're going to talk
Werner
about goalkeeper errors, is that last game that we haven't talked about yet?
Which one?
Werner Mjällby.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was there a goalkeeper error in this game as well?
It was horrific. He's,
I missed that.
Yeah, have a look at it. The ball's come in on a cross, and the goalkeeper's almost thrown it back into the. It's very bizarre. You're almost going to have to give it a watch.
Oh my god!
Because it's coming on a cross, and the goalkeeper he's jumped and caught it, and then just thrown it back, almost like a volleyball touch back down to the Mjällby player to volley
Neil,
it into the net.
What was the name of the goalkeeper that did this?
I don't know.
I'm looking at his name now, and it looks like
I know you're trying to stitch me up.
I'm definitely trying to stitch you up. It looks like Pilip Wojciechowicz.
Is he
Polish?
Belarusian.
Let's have a look at this.
That is an absolutely sensational name. Yeah, and it does say he made an error leading to a goal. I'm going to have to watch this.
It's almost as bad as the what's his name? The
Dovin.
Yeah, Dovin error. It's up
wow.
there. It's pretty shocking.
That is that's pretty special.
Give it a watch.
Did I read correctly that there were only 920 people at this game?
It's probably 922 many, to be fair.
But we can sum it up with Dandruff Village. Little bit of a soft spot for Dandruff Village, but they won 1-0 against Werner. And I'm going to have to Google that goalkeeping error because that's
give it a watch,
sensational. Nice. Well, that concludes the wrap-up of the week's fixtures. And it was an interesting week. I think the teams that we expected to win won, which is surprising because it shows that we actually might starting to learn a little bit about Allsvenskan. I'm sure that can all change very quickly. But it was an interesting week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's
moving on to next week.
Where I was going to say it's also been a week where I've managed to save my home life a little bit. Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Well, last week's episode, I've used the line. I can't remember what I was talking about, but I've used the term "my current wife," which has brought around all kinds of questions from various people. How many wives have you had? How many are you planning to have in the future? Is it soon to be? Is it soon to be your ex-wife? Are you two going okay? Have you started counselling? There's been all kinds of questions coming out from that. But no, it's just me trying to sound smarter than what I actually am. She is my current wife. She is also my only wife to date, and I don't have any major plans to get rid of her.
So she's also your future wife as well as your current.
She is currently my future wife.
Past, present, future.
Or as some good friends of mine described her as, my current complication, which was quite good. But no, managed to save that just about.
Good.
So that also made it a good week for me.
Congratulations. So Neil is still married to his current wife.
Just about. Yeah,
what game are you going to be putting your current wife through watching, Neil, this week? What's your game of choice for next week?
Well, I think I've got to go for Göteborg Malmö, Gothenburg Malmö. Because it's not a derby, but it is apparently a very fierce rivalry. But it's not a derby distance-wise. It's probably a little bit... I'm trying to think of an English...
Arsenal United.
Arsenal United, a little bit like that. But the Swedes have a term for it, for this derby, and it's called Mästermötet. Which...
Sorry, what?
Mästermötet. Try and say that quickly after a few beers, and I've had a couple. So...
Is that one of the Mr. Men?
That's the
Mr.
Mästermötet. Anyway,
okay.
And it basically means if any Swedes have understood me, they're great. Well done, good job. But it basically means clash of the greatest champions in English, which is quite arrogant.
Wow,
El
that's very
Clasico.
arrogant.
Yeah, quite
I mean,
arrogant.
yeah, you've got El Clasico. You've got what's the Dortmund Munich one? No, I've forgotten it.
And then you've
you've got the greatest derby name of all
France.
time, El Trafico, between LA, the two LA teams, and then you've got the master of all masters master match, Gothenburg Malmö.
It sounds like something
Alright.
from He-Man.
Right.
Masters of the
So your vote
Universe.
is going to Gothenburg Malmö. Mike,
I think it'll
what
be
about
good.
you?
I think it'll be a good match.
Well, I'm a bit of a left field choice, going out for Mjällby Doe Rapids or Degerfors. They are. I think we figured out that they are actually dough rapids, like flour dough.
Degerfors.
So we've
Doe
got
Rapids.
Dandruff Village versus Doughy
The
Rapids.
dough rapids. Yeah,
I mean,
which is
Sensational.
I don't know if they've got that at Gröna Lund, but I'm
sounds-
going to be watching that
It
one.
sounds like a fairground ride. With a 4-hour queue.
And once again, I had the luxury of choosing the first the first game of the week and putting it in the show doc, and I've chosen AIK Hammarby. Not just because it's a Stockholm derby, but I do want to see how low can AIK go, and if they lose, like if they get battered by Hammarby, that is going to be an absolute bloodbath on the terraces. Like seriously, they booed their team off at half time against Norrköping, right?
They actually they
What
threw
are
stuff at the
AIK
players
fans
when they're
going
at the end
to
of the
do
match.
if they get trounced by
Do you think,
a local rival?
Do you think the arena will be friendly at the end of it if they lose?
No one's leaving that place as friends.
No one's going to be friends anymore.
Oh Jesus! And it is at Friends Arena, so yeah, Hammarby are going to walk into Friends Arena and try and annihilate any sort of friendship in AIK's dressing room or stadium. So that's my pick of the week.
Unusual for you to pick a Hammarby match, Andy.
Oh,
that your first in a
The
row?
suspicions are growing stronger.
wow! Am I a closet Hammarby fan?
Your house will be green before you know it.
Yeah, watch out.
How are we going to decide this then?
Ooh.
I definitely don't want to see Mike's match.
I mean,
Fair enough.
All right, yeah, Mjällby Degerfors. It's interesting because I mean I could be persuaded to watch Gothenburg Malmö just because of that name. Obviously I'm a Hammarby fan apparently, so I'm going to be watching AIK Hammarby anyway. So let's take the game of the week. Let's do a little bit of a random one, and let's do Gothenburg Malmö. And if Gothenburg lose by more than 3 goals, then Mike, you have to have some sort of an absolutely epic 10-word or less summary for that match.
Yeah, what I think
right.
it's going to be 5-1.
Oh,
you think
Malmö
they'll score?
Gothenburg. No, I think what will happen is Malmö might just score an own goal at the end because they feel sorry for Gothenburg because they're not really there or trying.
Oh, that'd be sweet, wouldn't it?
Like you do on
Right,
when you play
well, there
online
you
on
have it.
FIFA, just to bring them back stop them from quitting.
stop
like,
winning rage
yes.
quitting at the
5-0,
end.
you're like, okay, I'll score a couple of own goals so you don't quit. And
So you're seeing there's a chance. Right, there it is.
Yep.
Game of the week next week for us will be Gothenburg and Malmö, and that's purely because it's the Masters of All Mastery master match. So we're expecting big things. Well, thank you everyone for joining us again. And another week of weird and wonderful Allsvenskan is back in the bag. Let's see what goalkeeping errors happen next week, and if Luis Suarez has learned his lesson or carries on banging in goals. Who knows? Thank you for joining us. Much love. Goodbye.
hey, do it.
Bye-bye.